a little more empowered that perhaps two things which I have to do is going forward is that now that I've identified something, I create a habit of one, strategizing before I go in. Second thing is that of making a habit of analyzing every time I finish a discussion, even if it goes well.
Yes.
Thank you.
Which goes to what Rajkumar was saying, which is how do you design for it and then how do you neutralize it, right? So when you design for it before going into a conversation, you can be, you would know that more facts is not the answer. I mean, just imagine if more facts was the answer, the world would look like a very different place, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Okay, even beyond more facts may or may not be the answer. But the one thing that is definitely not the answer is moral superiority or moral indignation.
Right.
Okay, and if there is only one thing you were to care about, no one is asking you, but if you were to ask me, okay, so of these 3 days, what is the one thing, the only sort of, think of it as an infection that you want to, take to your cells at a cellular level. And that infection is that watch for moral indignation in your thought, in your action, and in your feeling. Watch for moral indignation in your thought, action, and feeling, and then ruthlessly weed it out. And you will then find that what you have to say, whatever you have to say, the other person in front of you is able to receive it very, very differently. Is everyone with me? Do we have a shared understanding of moral indignation? What is moral indignation?
Being holier than thou?
Holier than thou. And holier than thou is at several levels. One is sort of very straightforward and you get it that somebody's kind of superior. But it's like an onion, you pull out one layer and you see another layer of moral indignation, then you see another level of moral indignation. You say, tere mein aur mujh mein kya farak hai? And we keep getting into this chatter. Right?
So for me, for example, as I understand it, was believing my knowledge of what website should be to be superior to what he would actually be able to think about it.
I would not say that is moral indignation. That is not moral indignation. That is actually based on facts.
Okay.
That I mean, because you work more you maybe work with websites more, etc. All of that. So that's not moral indignation. Moral indignation is when you say that's the problem with folks like you.
Okay, your personality, is it?
Yeah, I mean so that
no, I have a general idea, but I'm not able to at this particular moment. I don't know why I'm not able to.
Sure, that's okay. So yeah, we're here to assist you. So when you otherize someone, whether it is a community, whether it's an individual, whether it is like for example, that is the problem with millennials. That is the problem with being on social media. That's the problem with this, and that's the problem with that.
Right.
And constantly coming from that space.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And failing to call your bluff, essentially. Yeah. Preeti, let's go.
Yeah, what resonated me was the last line of your article that you shared, that eventually the quality of your life is a direct function of the quality of questions you're willing to ask. I think it stems.
They sent you that piece?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The false choice one they sent, no? That's how it ended.
Okay.
Yeah, so this resonated and tied in with my yesterday's feeling of that the more I know, the more I realize I don't know. And what you spoke about moral indignation right now really resonated, because I think today I've taken 5 decisions out of
moral indignation.
How dare they do that? Don't they know better? I am like kicking myself saying that I could have, so that's really helpful. The other thing we talked about, slightly touched it, but you said you might talk about today, so it's just a reminder: Socratic questioning, zero emotional charge, composite narratives, and
oh my God,
realities cause this. So if we can just touch upon them or pack them up a little more, unpack them a little more. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. We ask the wrong questions because we fear the right answers. Um, yeah. Okay. So what I will do is I will lay this out on a buffet for you, and you tell me, we have an hour and a bit, what you want to deal with. Okay. So there's an exercise, a simulation that we can do if you think like if it is something that will work for a lot of people. So the context of this simulation is as follows. The context of the simulation is, if there is a big decision in life that you've been sitting on, okay, for maybe a month, 2 weeks, maybe 3 months, maybe 1 year, maybe more, and you were wishing that some clarity in terms of unpacking the consequences of decisions, the consequence of indecision. Is there a framework in which one can understand with a reasonable amount of clarity what is really the cost of a decision and the cost of the cost of inaction? If that is something that is going to be relevant for some of you, or some of us, or most of us, that's a simulation we can get into. It will take us about 45 minutes. We can either do that, or we can continue on this path that we are on, which is, look at the questions that Preeti was holding, and we can look at maybe one or two mental models today. So I'll leave it to you. We can do the simulation, decision-making simulation, or we can do this. So where are we? What do you think? And of course, we can, while we do the simulation, we can also look at one or two of those questions. Of course, the detail, I mean, the depth will be different because of the timeline. Yeah. So let's just see where we are. How many of us would like to go for a simulation?
I put it in chat, Yogesh.
What? You put it in what?
Hand raise is also there.
Okay. Yeah. Just raise your hand if you think simulation is something. I mean, you're sitting on a decision, and that is something that you think will be. I see 5 hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, you are also raising hand like this. Oh my God! I mean, what?
Just in case you missed it out.
Yeah, no. Then that is more. Then that's not. Yeah, that's raising all the time. 9, 10, 11 hands. Okay. No, I'll give you both. Don't worry. Come on, put your hands down. All right. So let's get into this decision-making simulation, and then on the backside we look at some of those questions. She's taken copious notes. There's no escaping from it. They will go with her when she goes. So I'll need you to get, this is landscape, no? This is landscape? Yeah. Get a landscape size stationery with, note or paper and some writing material. Quickly, let's go. Srilekha, you're looking very beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have I unmuted myself?
ரொம்ப பிரமாதமா இருக்குங்க.
ரொம்ப நன்றி.
Okay, so here's what we're doing. We are dividing the sheet in 3 sections. Let's go. 3 sections. 3. I don't think equal is the word, but 3, well, equal sections. Yeah. What? Ruben, what is that?
Your voice is breaking a bit. Your voice was breaking a bit.
3 sections. Okay. And at the top of the sheet, you want to first begin with the decision that you are sitting on. What is this decision that you want to make? Okay. I want to quit my job. I want to end my relationship. right? It has to be a big D decision. Don't talk about what I want to do with the grocery supermarket purchase next week. A big D decision, a career change, taking 6 months off for travel, wanting to write a book, something. You know what I mean, right? Like a big decision that you have. And if you don't have skin in the game, this exercise will make no sense. It will only be mental masturbation. So it has to be a decision that really means something to you. Done? Okay, now, in the first section, make another row and write fears, F-E-A-R-S, fears. And under that, I need 3 subsections. So one section, and then at the row level, 3 subsections.
Sorry, Yogesh, just one doubt.
Maybe it will be good if you take a paper and tell us.
Yeah, oral tradition is better. We're going to stay with this. Yeah, you can try your luck. Oral tradition is better, right? So on the first section, you say fears, and under fears, there are 3 subsections. So the heading of the first subsection of the 3, there are 3 sections, right?
Right.
Yeah, the first section is named fears. That's all, nothing else. And under fears, there are 3 subsections, 3 rows, which says define, prevent, repair.
Define,
prevent, and repair.
Prevent.
Prevent. Define, prevent, and repair. So I'm giving you an example of what that means. Let's say I want to take a sabbatical. So my action is taking a sabbatical.
prevent.
All right. Now, defining the fear is that I may not have a job at the end of that sabbatical. That is a fear that I have. Is that true? Now, within that fear, what is prevent and repair? Can I prevent this from happening? Which means, can I speak to my employer and stuff? He can
Voice
give
is
me
breaking.
a partly paid
Can't
or a
hear.
fully paid holiday. Is my voice breaking for everyone or only for you?
No, it's breaking for everyone, I think.
Yes,
But
it is.
It is
now,
breaking.
now it's okay.
No,
it's
it's
just sometimes.
Okay, great. So you define the fear and then you say what can you do to prevent it? So can you speak to your employer and see if you still have a job at the end of it, or if there is something that you can do while you're traveling, maybe you can take a gig up, etc., to repair it. Got it? So define, prevent, repair.
It's repair or prepare. Everybody is writing something else on the chat box.
Repair.
Repair. Somebody wrote prepare. So
Yeah, repair. Prevent and repair. Yeah. So prevent will be prepare. Prevent and prepare is the same, and then repair. Okay. Now in the second section has 1 subdivision and 2 questions on the left and on the right. Okay. On the left, what is the most limited upside of the action I want to take?
What is the most, what?
Limited upside. What is the minimum upside? So if I quit my job and I go and take a sabbatical and travel the world, at the least, I get to see all these countries. Maybe I get to meet my friends. Krupali is telling her mother, stay away while I'm doing this. Don't come here. Okay. Okay. And on the right-hand side of the second section, you say, what is the maximum downside of this action that I want to take, of the decision that I want to take? Okay. And in the third section, again, you will have 3 subsections there. And the heading of that section is cost of inaction. What is the heading?
Cost of inaction.
Yes, cost of inaction. In 6 months, 1 year, and 3 years. So that can be, that is, I'm giving you just template numbers. 6 months, 1 year, 3 years is, short, medium, long. But if you want to compress it, it can be 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year also. So I'll leave that to you. Now, show it to me. Just put it in front of your video camera. Let me see what have you got. Actually, let me take a photograph. Mukul, Shilpa, do you guys want to put that up? This is like a nice 6th standard A section moment that we are having here.
Oh, did. Okay.
Okay, good. Excellent. So, any questions? We get this started now. If
Can
you have
you
any questions, you
explain
can
the
ask me.
repair part for the question which you answering sabbatical one?
Yeah, so the repair is if your employer is not going to hold your job for you, what can you do to repair the loss that you're going to accrue? So can you take a gig while you're traveling or something? Or how can you repair it? Because you cannot prevent it. You cannot prevent your job loss. What can you do to repair it? Okay. So let's go. Let's start with a decision that you have in mind. What is it that you want to take? What is it that you want to do? And then let's sit on this and see where it takes us. Would you like me to put you in private rooms to have lesser distraction? I can put you all in a single room. You want me to do that? Or is this okay?
If we have any questions, would it be easier to discuss with everybody in the room? I'm just asking.
Yeah, sure.
What you feel. What you feel.
No. I feel what you feel. So I'm giving you an option. These are options I'm giving you, and you take what you want to do.
I think it's fine to be here.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Sorry, quick question, Yogesh. The second, the main column, right? So fear is the last one is cost of inaction. The middle one, does it have a heading? And then in that we had 2 questions, left and right.
Yeah, so the heading is really, I mean, it's there, but it's also redundant. It's taking action.
Okay. Okay, got it. Thanks.
So Yogesh, in the taking action part, there are 2 things. What is the most limited upside of the action? And what is the maximum downside of the action?
Yeah. Yeah, downside is not doomsday, by the way. So don't say, oh, the world can come to an end. That we don't know, but it can come to an end. So rationally, I mean, logically speaking, what is the maximum downside?
Will it be also the same fear stuff, or will it overlap with the fear, what I have?
It can, and also it will be very specific with what is the, like, if this thing. So the difference between the fear and this second part, it's a good question, and this is for everyone. The difference
What was the question?
Go ahead, Rajkumar.
The question is, in the second part of the middle portion, which is taking action portion, what is the maximum downside of the option? Was will the maximum downside of the option be similar to the fear?
Yeah, it might not be, and the reason is the fear is is pre-action, and the maximum downside is post-action. So I may not. So for instance, and it might be an overlap also. It might be an overlap, but the distinction you want to make is what is the fear that is making me not take the decision, and there it is what might happen at the end of having made that decision. Okay. Okay.
Yogesh?
Yeah.
Sorry, just one doubt. When you said define fears, you're talking about the all-encompassing overall fear rather than listing the fears, right?
The specific fear. So in context of the decision.
Right. Okay.
So if it's a career, then maybe falling sick may not be a fear. I mean, it is a fear in general, but it is not related to the career.
Okay. Right.
How much time is given to prepare this?
Sorry, it's not something that we are looking to have a full clarity on. We get started today and see where we are, and then you're free to continue this after the session. So it's not a theoretical exercise, right? I mean, it is not something we are doing to do anything with the workshop. This is depends on what is the big decision that is there for you.
Okay.
But in the context of the timeline, we'll maybe give you another 10, 12, 15 minutes. Yeah, but you can continue. What the point I'm saying, Karthik, is that आप उसके बाद भी मतलब खत्म होने के बाद भी continue कीजिए अगर वहाँ पे और है.
Okay. Okay.
Yogesh, what exactly does prevent mean? When I define my fear, how do I prevent the fear?
How do I prevent? So if my fear is unemployment, can I ask my employer to to give me a break? And so my employment remains secure. So how can they prevent that fear from manifesting? Did you get that, Swati?
No, I'm quite not sure yet. So,
go ahead.
I define my fear and what I can do to prevent that fear, from happening.
Yeah. So for instance, if you want a second career, if let's say for example, Drishti, can I bring you in? Drishti, what's your passion? What's your big passion?
My passion, I love dancing.
You love dancing. Acha, Abhi, what are you doing right now?
I've completed my bachelor's in zoology, and that is exactly what I want to do, what you said. I just want to change the line. I was thinking about something, and when you said, you can continue. I don't know how to put it. You can continue.
Yeah, sure. So essentially now in Drishti's case, Swati, if she wants to take up dance, and if her fear is that, do you have a job right now, Drishti?
No, I don't.
You don't have a job?
No.
Okay. And you finished your graduate. Are you planning to take up a job?
Yeah, I might.
You might.
I still don't know.
You still don't know. Or maybe you'll do higher studies or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Now, in her case, she has to pursue higher studies. Okay. Now, if she decides to take up dance, her fear may be that, you know what, I may not be able to do justice to my higher studies. Is that true? That is the fear. Swati, are you with me? Now, how can she prevent that? Is there a way to prevent it from happening? Which means, can she do dance on the weekends? Okay, now, for example, if there is no way to prevent it, which is that she can only choose dance or higher studies, then you get to repair. Because maybe she cannot make the choice. And now she has to, okay, so if I make only one of these choices, if I go ahead with dance for a year, what can I do to repair it? After 1 year, I can go back and pursue my higher studies. Everyone, did you get that?
So is repair in cases where there is no prevention possible?
Repair, yeah, exactly. But I mean, they are mutually exclusive. If you can prevent it, where it does not come to repair at all. Okay.
Yogesh, will you just elaborate on the cost of inaction?
What happens if you don't do this? What happens if you stay in a relationship that you don't want to stay? If you continue doing a job that you don't want to do, what happens? What happens in 1 month? What happens in 6 months? What happens in 2 years?
Thank you.
So my understanding is I might as well write repair, because whatever my prevention, if it doesn't work, I can go to the repair part.
I've written it whatever I could write.
Just wait for a bit. Wait for a bit.
Okay.
So whenever you are complete, just raise your hand on Zoom and I'll know that you're complete. Okay, just raise your hand whenever you think you're complete. We'll start in a couple of minutes. Okay. Does somebody want to, or is feeling inspired to share what they mapped with the rest of us?
Can I?
You can lower your hands and then raise your hand again. You can. Sorry. Can who?
Me.
Yeah, go.
Oh, a decision of mine is to become IPS officer. For that, I have to clear UPSC civil service exam. I'm a general category, so I have to score under 100 rank to become IPS.
Okay.
And define is to fulfill my dream to wear a prestigious uniform, to be able to be a great gazetted officer in Government of India. Prevention is no friends or minimal friends. Minimal social media only for studies. Read news wisely. Stop being any kind of right wing or left wing. Create a perspective. To be able to write an essay.
Okay.
10 hours study daily. Repair is to prevent also to stop to say no to my parents who are looking for bride. Repair is to convince parents, friends.
Okay. Right. So, Karthik, thank you. In the context of the exercise, so when you say the decision is to become an IPS officer, ये जो आपने बताया that your parents may get you married off, that is the fear.
Okay.
And then you say about what can you do to prevent it, which is that you can maybe fall in love with someone, which will prevent it automatically, hopefully. Or you can repair it, which is that, and I'm kidding here, don't take my word for it, and then don't go say that he said it, get into a relationship with it and then maybe do something. So anyway, so the point is that the fear has to do with the fear of your decision. That's what we're saying. We are not making this is not a goal setting, this is a fear setting exercise. समझ रहे हैं?
Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else? Srilekha, is your hand up?
My hand went up to tell you that I'm done.
Yeah, so you can lower your hand.
Yeah.
Thank you. Rishikesh, let's go.
Yeah, so my decision is to quit job and focus on the startup, which I'm currently running on parallel. So my biggest fear is that the startup won't successful. And yeah, to prevent it, currently what I'm doing is to preventing that.
Right. Because, so Rishikesh, if I can pause you, the startup will not be successful is what will come in the second section of the second section, the second subsection of the second section, which is what is the maximum downside of it. This is post action.
Right.
Right. This is not a fear. This is post action. The fear is what is stopping you from making the decision. There's a crucial difference between the two.
So maybe,
Okay?
yeah. So maybe
Yeah. So the fear is maybe in this case you don't have enough money to start up.
Yep. Right.
Okay. Now, how can you prevent it and how can you repair it, etc., etc.
Yes. Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you have more to say?
No. Then under the repair part, like if I want to prevent it, then the repair part is like I'll like work for 2 years and then do some savings and then I'll just go through that. So yeah, may like it count as a repair or what?
No. So if you're saying that you are going to not take on your startup and wait for 2 years, then that does not figure in the gambit of the exercise. That goes into inaction. So you're saying I will not do anything for 2 years. So that is what you're saying.
Okay. Okay.
So that's a whole different. So you have to sit with it, and it's an exercise that works only when you have all the clarity. So you have to sit with it and really understand what it is.
Yeah. Sure.
Kiran?
Yeah, so actually it's related to Rishikesh. I actually have started on my own for some time, and my decision is whether I should continue entrepreneurship or the freelance life or join the workforce again.
Right.
What I believe is my biggest fear is that I will not be able to get sustained income and basically have not enough on one day to have anything for my family. As well as myself, but my family more.
Sure.
To prevent this, what I have thought about is that I've written about expanding into certain other related areas from what I am currently doing, because the fear is coming out of the fact that I am not able to get enough clients at this point of time. After initially having clients, right now it's dried up.
Right.
So expand into related areas. The second is maybe get a sort of some sort of places where I can get some steady income, in the sense of trying to bring on, let's say I get into app building, or let's say on something which I have an expertise on, get into Udemy or Skillshare, for example. Just a thought. My repair and another one prevent is also that I bring on a partner who actually can take up this responsibility well. And I've written for repair is that I'll try to take up a part-time job where I can try to handle both at that time, or take up something which will have, while trying to do this, maybe basically teach children ICSE, CBSE students.
Sure.
But it's something which I do enjoy, so it's something which I feel that I can do. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiran. What is coming for me, for you, and for Rishikesh, and for this is a common question. There's a workshop we do on healing your relationship with money, and people of our generation kind of have this constant tussle between financial suicide and spiritual suicide. Right? We're constantly trying to decide, be there. And I think one idea that works, and I've seen work for myself also, is what is known as, and I'm going to use a euphemism, what is known as duck you money. You know what is duck you money? The actual word is 2 letters before, 2 letters after the D, but we'll call it duck you money. Okay, and duck you money really is, depending on what is comfortable for you, 12 to 18 months forward of expenses at any given point of time, right? Because having that clarity, okay, so 18 months worth of expenses plus medical insurance plus this plus that, whatever, then gives me at least gives me a 6-month runway where I can then fully focus on what I want to focus. So it goes back to making meta decisions, right? So decide what your duck you money is and see how far away from duck you money you are. Then put your dream on the back burner, get to duck you money. Once you get to duck you money, then duck the job or whatever. And then say, okay, this is the, so a lot of it is when you keep, when the monkey mind is in too many places. So have the clarity, what is it that you want? Then get to that point and then say, okay, tata, bye bye.
Thank you.
Okay. So duck you money is a very powerful idea, especially if you can have that clarity and you know what your responsibilities are and things like that. Of course, duck you money does not work if you say, oh no, but I want to buy a mansion in Gold Coast in Australia. Then that's a whole thing. Okay, 5 p.m. Let's take a break for 10 minutes. We come back and we'll then get on to Preeti's question and answer session. Right?
Wow.
Okay. All right. Everyone back? Shilpa, are you here? Okay.
Yogesh?
Ji.
Yogesh?
Yeah.
Sorry, just one doubt. This is basically in the notes that you had sent. There was one part which I couldn't decipher the word for.
That is Rajkumar's notes. Rajkumar's notes. Check it out.
Rajkumar?
Yes, please.
Sorry, you had written after survivorship bias is influenced by previous success, absence of proof is not absence. After that, you had said that something is the prerequisite for participation.
Craziness. Craziness.
Pardon?
Craziness.
Craziness. Okay. All right.
Craziness is a prerequisite for participation.
Okay. Thank you.
You're pretty crazy to see those notes so closely, by the way. Okay, let's go. Preeti, we'll hopefully have enough time to do at least one mental model. We'll do that as well. But let's see if we can take some of these questions. Let's go. Can you state those questions? You're muted.
So composite narratives and but.
Yeah, okay. So that's a straightforward one. Rajkumar.
What is it? What is it? Sorry.
Yeah, Preeti is talking about the power of the composite narrative and using and instead of but.
Yes.
So yeah, can I bring you in? We've had this conversation in the other room.
Yes, in the ethical conversations part. Yes.
Yeah.
Want me to share my thoughts on that?
Yes.
Okay, so this was a discussion where when we're going to have a difficult conversation, and how do we respond to somebody, or how do we talk to somebody on the subject? So when I say something like, "Hey, I heard you say that I am not giving attention on what I do, but this is what hey, I am doing, or I say, hey, thank you so much for helping me in this, but, and then whatever I say, it has negated whatever the other person has done or whatever I have told before. The moment I say but, what I told before has no relevance. I had told the initial part to set a particular context and then say something. I have a difficult message to deliver. Before I do that, I want to set the context. Whenever I set the context and say but, that context is broken. However, when I say and, this is what I hear you say, and this is what is my thought on
and
it.
I also think, and so all of these are very closely, thank you, Rajkumar. All of these are very closely related, Preeti, which is the three things, which is and instead of but, the composite narrative and the Socratic questioning. So what happens is that when you hear the word but more than a few times, it creates the equivalent. fMRI scans, functional MRI scans reveal the receptor cells that light up in our head are exactly the same receptor cells that light up when we are in physical pain. Just hearing the word but. Okay? Just hearing the word but. And really, the idea of a composite narrative is accounting for what has been said without checking for accuracy. Please understand. Without checking for accuracy. A lot of us get into the business of checking what someone else said, whether it is accurate or not. Is that true?
Yeah.
So you're simply capturing what someone else has said without any emotional charge or without checking it for accuracy.
Okay. So basically mirroring the words back.
Yeah, and it is easier said than done. It is easier said than done. Because what? Because moral indignation. Like, how dare you? You're not saying it in so many words, but you are reflecting it. Like, you don't know this also, or how can you believe this? Or I don't believe that you said something like that. You know, like, grow up. This is 2020 or something like that, right? And even the slightest trace of any of this kicks in the backfire of it. Okay. So, you know, a good way of understanding, like for a long time after Donald Trump became the president, I did not have an answer as to, I mean, for myself, I always used to hit a bit of a dead end as to how can people vote someone like him into power, right? And like for the longest time, now it is nearly 4 years, and so the hold around it is gone. Have you also kind of had a similar challenge, reconciling yourself, you know, and it's so much frustration around it. He may not be directly impacting your life, but just so much frustration, right? This is a man who's so deeply misogynist, says all kinds of things, you know, unpredictable, etc. And some kind of an answer or some kind of a closure came when you saw that really what has happened in the world in the last 10 years today is that all narratives are being shaped from the point of view of under 25-year-olds. All narratives, the fashion narrative, the film narrative, the consumption narrative, the food narrative, the business narrative, the technology narrative. In some ways, if you're about 25, you are irrelevant. Yeah. And when you look at the world from that lens, what you see, you know, the reason for Boris Johnson and the reason for Donald Trump, and if you look at the voting patterns, it's very, if you just Google, you'll notice it is mostly people in the 50s and the 60s who are voting for these guys. And this is really a fight not for Trump, this is a fight for the relevance of the older people. Is that landing on you? This is saying, kuch to, because, and you will see this everywhere. You'll see this in your house. Okay. your mother or your father who's over 50 or 60, they can live with everything, but they will fall sick the moment they believe they are not relevant to the world or to your life. Or if, like, you know, and I know I've been guilty of this. Like, you know, I tell my father a lot, you know, whenever he does something good, I tell him, good boy, good boy. Like, I treat him like my son a lot of times, right? He's only 60, he's not very old. And sometimes, while it works very well because, you know, we have knock on wood, we have a great relationship. Sometimes I see that I'm violating his need to be a father and be relevant to my life. And then sometimes he says, but you know what, you're doing everything of your own accord. I don't think you need me at all. And then it lands on me that really this is sometimes a fight for relevance. And Donald Trump is the fight for relevance of that school of thought. And which is why humanity progresses one funeral at a time. You know? So that about the whole business of reality being uncaused or being causeless more than uncaused. The most difficult thing, or one of the most difficult things to prove in science is causation. Okay? What is the meaning of this statement? You have some academicians in the room. What is the meaning of this? One of the most difficult things to prove is causation. What is the meaning of this statement?
Shall I?
Yeah. Rashi, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I thought Kiran started
I saw
saying
your
something.
eyes lit up. Yeah, I'll come to you and then I'll come to Kiran. Go.
Yeah, so basically, if something has worked, you cannot really say, oh, it worked because of this reason. It just worked in those given conditions, in those defined parameters. So it's yeah, you cannot pinpoint a specific cause because there can be multiple causes which can act to make it work. To put it in very simple terms, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Kiran.
It comes from the notion that correlation does not imply causation. Therefore, for example, if you find somebody who has been murdered and some ice cream in the room at the same time for the first time, it does not mean that the ice cream has caused the murder, for example.
Yeah. You know,
that's like a trivial example, but what I mean, okay, let's say as an ice pick there or something, it doesn't necessarily mean that he was killed from an ice pick. More direct.
Yeah. So, you know, so the example that Kiran is sharing is easier to rule out. Okay, I'll give you a more sort of closely correlated example. Let's say, for instance, there are two research studies or one research study which says as the density of traffic jams goes up in a city, divorce rates in that city go up too. Okay, and what will be your immediate conclusion when you read that study?
Couples fight during the traffic signal.
Or something like, or what? Or traffic jams are allowing people to spend lesser time together and they're more irritable and they are fighting with one another or things like that, which may be true. And then you'll read another study which says the secret for most successful couples is that they spend very little time with one another. You understand? So what we are saying is the stories exist only inside us. Outside of us, there is only bits and bytes of information. Things are happening. And in our need to meaning make, we pick up things and we form narratives. And whatever narrative resonates most with your life situation at that point of time will seem to you like the Param Satya. Will seem to you like, oh, this is the truth. Okay. Kiran?
Wanted to add it to this is basically it's related to what you mentioned about the Trump effect or Boris Johnson effect. what many of us feel is that how could people be so stupid? So the immediate correlation that we come to is that people are stupid and they are voting for against their self-interest or something for something else. Where actually they might be voting, for example, for economic causes or something like that. I'm just saying that's a possibility.
Yeah. Yeah. And also in general, better informed people find it, better informed people find it very difficult to think from the point of view of lesser informed people. Okay. It's a huge cognitive bias. It's a huge cognitive bias.
They'll always rationalize their decisions.
Yeah.
Also, smarter people.
Yogesh, I was just wondering, when we have to take decisions also, when I was doing the flow chart kind of thing that you asked us to do, I found that it's so interrelated to so many other aspects. And I thought maybe that's just me. But now that you bring up causation and that there is no definitive, so I'm just wondering if that was true for a lot of other people as well, because there are so many things our decisions depend on that is never such a direct and a simple thing that, this or that. So,
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we can check with others. Was that true for a lot of other people as well? Yeah, seems like, yes. Yeah, seems like it. Because, eventually, and I think this is maybe a decent note to kind of tie all of our discussion from the last 3 days. Please understand, there is such a thing called reality and there's such a thing called concept. Okay, there is such a thing called
reality and concept.
There is such a thing called concept. Okay, reality is what is taking place outside your window in this moment. Okay, concept is what you make when you are sitting inside a closed room and pursuing an intellectual pursuit. So typically, concepts start at Ivy League institutions, mostly in the United States, whether it is scientific concepts or cognitive biases, mental models, etc. Okay, so someone comes up with it, it gets peer regulated, peer reviewed. There are 1,500 conferences done on it. Somebody gets given a Nobel Prize. There's a lot of circle jerking. There's a lot of just going round and round and round in circles. Books get written, are sold at a hefty premium. Lots of stories get told. And then one day, 5 years or 10 years after those concepts have received universal validation, they go and collide against such a thing called reality. And when the concept collides against reality, who wins?
Reality.
Concept unfortunately wins.
Reality wins.
Oh,
reality tends
talking about her perspective, don't people? Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yeah. No. Which is okay. I mean, anything can win. I mean, the point is that the thing is that reality does not care for concepts.
Right. Okay, got it.
Reality does not care about concepts. Right? And therefore, the highest gift you can gift yourself is to lead a life without concepts. Be able to call your bluff. All this is okay. चल रहा है, घूम रहा है, bills बन रहे हैं, कट रही है, कट लो. But तुम ये नहीं हो. This is not who you are. Okay. So like the bumblebee, which lives without concepts, right? Because the bumblebee, aerodynamically speaking, is not supposed to fly. It flies because it doesn't know what it's not supposed to do. Okay. And to that end, and this can be a depressing thought, we sometimes say, don't spend 1 crore on a marriage, but spend 1 crore on Harvard. Well, there's no difference actually. Both are acts of vanity. You think you're morally superior spending 1 crore on Harvard, but not 1 crore on your wedding, and you will morally shame those who are spending 1 crore on wedding, but call your bluff. Both of them are acts of vanity. So, thank you for coming to my podcast. Darshan, let's go.
For me, I was just trying to connect everything where all my decisions are taken on autopilot mode. Only the way I've seen my environment evolve, especially the way your parents take decision. And then for like 25, 26 years, you're just making decisions only on autopilot mode because ye to aise hi hota hai. And then when you start questioning everything, you can still question, but when you make that decision, the weightage is you have to justify those decisions, and that is the most difficult part. Like taking decision is one thing, but then you justify every stakeholder that, oh, this is what I want to do because this is what I feel. I'm not thinking, and they're like, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's how I did it. Like I just felt about it and I did it. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone. Sometimes we just make decisions how we feel about.
Sometimes we are better at defending decisions than making them every single day of the week. Every single day of the week. And it again goes back into the conversation that it is very difficult to prove causation. You can never say this is why you made a decision. Okay. Okay, we'll do one mental model and then we'll call time. So maybe you can close your eyes. I'll take you through a quick mental model. Just close your eyes. And see if you can, in your consciousness, detect, diagnose, and excavate the mental model of no pain means no gain. And now see how many decisions in your life as a kid, adolescent, adult, small d decisions, big D decisions, all pass through the subconscious filter, subconscious mental model, that if there is going to be no pain, it normally means no gain. And how many times did you not make those decisions or discarded those options because those options seemingly did not involve pain? And see if some decisions are flashing in front of your eyes. And now we spoke about concept and we spoke about reality. And now think, does reality care about pain and gain? And see how you created a prison, one of the many prisons in the head, by a wholly arbitrary mental model, but that has been institutionalized across cultures, across generations. And see how your choices may look different, how your decisions may look different, how your life may look different if you identify, diagnose, and excavate and disregard that mental model. Of course, sometimes pain and gain, sometimes there might be a match, but there's no obligation. Okay. Open your eyes whenever you feel ready. Do you see what's coming? Are you able to see what's coming? The power of a mental model that stays inside you, and you can live your entire life without, forget questioning that mental model, but becoming aware of that mental model. The most spurious connection in life that parents and teachers and society loves to make is that hard work leads to success. And even when we know otherwise, we don't want to share this with anyone else. We're like, you, Aja, tu bhi Aja, is taraf aa. Tu bhi, come, you also come. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's hear some voices. What's coming? Preeti is laughing and laughing and laughing and laughing.
Yeah, I've had so many conversations with my son, and now I understand that whatever he was telling me was all rational and sensible. And I was functioning out of moral indignation, saying, no, I'm the parent who knows better. So he's studying philosophy at Oxford now, and he's given me this whole spiel about how, you know, me saying kuch bura mat bolo ho jayega, don't say this from your mouth. And then when Modi ji says to bang utensils, I'm like, how dare he do something as stupid? And then he turns around and says, but you do it all the time. So calling out your bluff has been, yeah, this whole 10 days that I've spent with you has been amazing. Thank you for that.
Well, you spoke about banging. So let me tell you, washing your hands with what is that thing called? Sanitizer beyond the point is no different from banging, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, there comes a point when both those behaviors are the same behavior.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, Rajkumar, let's go.
Yeah, what's coming up is I can see contradiction still, even though I know that this is the truth, that there's no connection between pain and gain. And
has it kicked in the backfire effect?
Yes. So it's still saying, so I can now list down many events in life where there was absolutely no correlation between the benefit I got and the effort I put. Like, for example, I landed up a job in ICICI. You wouldn't believe in the recession. I landed in a great job in ICICI only because of one reason, that I knew a phone number. Only that reason. I knew a phone number. That's it. I knew a Just Dial phone number in '99 and I got a job in ICICI. There's no connection between. I actually flunked big time in my interview and all that, but still I got the job because I knew the phone number. That helped somebody else. That's it.
Yeah. So, but that does not make a good story. That's the problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Books cannot be printed on it. TED Talks cannot be made on it. And that's the problem. So then you go and create a fictional universe. Right? Which is all good. There's no, please understand. So, you know, you cannot talk about moral indignation and feel moral indignation about these things. The thing is, enjoy it, just don't believe it. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Because one day it will all end. But just don't believe it. Because if you believe it, you will end before it ends.
So another thing which is occurring to me now, even between the what we were speaking about, the but and all that, how to sort of bring it into more of consciousness, is one thing I understood is acting without that emotional charge. Even though it's so tough, get focused on acting on that emotional charge. I mean, not acting with emotional charge.
Yeah. You know, I don't know if I said it in this room or in another room. I'm finding myself in too many rooms. But when we come back in the new season, one of the new workshops we are doing is called Modern Love. Did I share it here? No?
Modern
I'm
love.
very excited. Yeah, Modern Love. And the whole idea, the whole starting point of the conversation is that today we are making relationships, especially intimate relationships, friendships, and romantic relationships, on the basis of how much content is matching between you and me. What do you feel about veganism? What do you feel about astrology? What do you feel about this? What do you feel about that? Okay, it's the most dangerous thing in the world, because relationships that are formed on the basis of content, in 15 days, the lifespan of the shelf life of that relationship is only 15 days. Because on the 16th day, what is going to happen?
Some mismatch will be
Some mismatches, yeah. Is it natural or is it exceptional?
Reality.
Natural.
It is natural. It is natural. So you want to come together on the basis of content because you want to transcend content. Right? Dotting every I, crossing every T is such an exhausting thing.
Then what will be postmodern thing?
जब बनेगा तब बताएंगे. अभी के लिए मॉडर्न लव. ठीक है. All right, so we'll close it on that.
I just have one thing, which is, as soon as I believe in the last model which is suggested, the problem is I stop putting hard work. So what I try to do is maybe create a gap between expectation and reality. But I do not want to believe that, hard work is not going to give me gain, because otherwise none of my habits would get formed, or none of the work which I'm doing will move in that direction. So is it actually faced by others in the group as well that, even though this is true, but I might like keep it the two thing, like the outcome is different from your hard work?
Yeah, so absolutely. Is that true for a lot of people? Because that's the prefrontal cortex again kicking into action, wanting to hold its relevance. Mukul, let's go.
Yeah, so relating hard work to pain, maybe we need to. That is what I feel. Whether hard work is pain, that I think I need to be clear on that. So, yeah.
Beautiful.
So that connects to what you were saying before. If you're enjoying that action, doesn't matter. Then it is not that is not pain. It is not hard work. It is a process which you are doing. Like for example, I practice Tai Chi. It takes about 40 minutes or something like that. But I totally enjoy that 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. It's not work for me. It's not hard work. For somebody else, they say, oh, every day 40 minutes, how are you do it?
Yeah. So what's the definition of pain for me? I think that will
pain
decide.
Pain is what I have to do and not what I want to do. That's the simplest. That's the simplest definition of pain. And therefore, Srilekha, I'm just coming to you. And therefore, to the point that you, Mukul, and you, Rajkumar, and you, Darshan, are making, the true north gets achieved or gets unlocked when you find that it is more painful to keep something inside of you. What is that thing? There is one thing for all of us, or more than one thing. There is something for all of us which is effortless in life. Something to all of us comes effortlessly. Okay? And that thing which comes effortlessly, you will find is more difficult to keep it inside than it is to let it out. Find that thing and then let it out. Then nothing is going to feel like work.
Can you unpack that a bit more? I didn't get it.
an example, maybe?
Yeah. Did somebody get it? I'll have them have a go at it. Yeah.
I just want to add is that it takes me to the explanation which you gave on survivorship bias when you said the truth is when failure becomes invisible, the difference between failure and success may also become invisible.
Right.
So I'm just connecting to that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Srilekha, let's go.
Yeah, I was just going to say something about Mukul's question on pain, and now I'm also wanting to add with what you just said at this point. So for me, the way it's landing is pain is relative, and like how Rajkumar says, the things that are maybe considered as painful for others, and if I enjoy it, then that pain is very relative for me. So let's say, for example, I run marathon. I can run 10 kilometers at a time, and for me, it can be painful for many of them. And how does she do it? I mean, no pain, no gain. We want to lose weight, all of those things. But pain is very relative for me. So for me, if I were to relate to what you're saying right now, I am extremely conversant, and stopping to talk is painful for me. That's the answer to Preeti's question, if that's unpacking for her. So something that's coming very naturally for you, and if you were to, or if you were asked not to do, or if you were to stop it for some other reason, for any reason, that effort of stopping can be painful, can be very, very difficult for some of the pain. No gain is, again, I think it's over importance, passion, or all are strong words. If you want to do something, then it's not painful. Or if you need to do something, and if there is an interesting benefit out of it, I guess we all would thrive to it. There is no pain with it. Just imagine, it is difficult for 10 weeks back to back, 2 hours, meeting so many people. And if I'm a facilitator and a coach, I'm going to find it very painful. Look at Yogesh, every day is in high spirits, catching up with people, remembering names, remembering stories, repeating content in different patterns. Just imagine when COVID is over and he's not going to do programs like this. What can happen, Yogesh? It's going to be very painful for you.
100%.
Yeah, so I think, I don't know if it unpacked for Preeti, but this is what landed on me when Yogesh said something that comes very effortlessly. Doing dishes, mopping, sweeping, painful, believe me. My maid is living, right? For my house support, whether she likes it or not, that's what she has to do. So I'm just that landed very well on me, Yogesh. Thanks for that. That statement came in very, very nicely on me, and I'm never going to use no pain, no gain anymore. It's not working for me. So decisions won't be made with that
filter.
Yeah.
So, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Wonderfully unpacked. Thank you. So, yeah, I think we have just enough time. We'll go around the room one time and just get some closing thoughts. Yeah, let's go. Anyone who's ready, just raise your hand, and we'll just register some closing thoughts as we wind down.
Part of what you just said last 5 seconds was, what did you say? Last 10 seconds. Yogesh, are you here?
Yeah, we'll just go around the room and hear different voices as we wind down.
For me, pain land like the last unpacking of pain landed really well. I might call myself sadist, but sometimes I enjoy doing those things, and then it's not a word as sadist because you're enjoying. And so, like how fundamentally definitions change when you just unpack it with people who have similar wavelengths. So thank you and lots of love, Yogesh,
Thank you.
and everyone in the group.
What I'm hearing is you're a BDSM aficionado.
Okay.
I like the way he's saying okay. Very painful, Darshan.
All right, Kripali, let's go.
Yeah, so one thing I don't know which day, first or second day, I found out that that we usually regret our decisions later that we made, and we think that we could have done that instead of this. And but it is that like that at that particular moment you took the decision which was best for that situation. That was the best you could do. So yeah, so whenever we take decisions, it's like in the later part we analyze it so much that was it right or wrong, something. Have we lost Yogesh?
No, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so that's what that. Even all the effects and everything you said that we do it so unconsciously, but now that you have said that, then we'll take a very gradual progression towards our decisions now. So that's what.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Who wants to go next? Ruben, do you want to say something? Looks like you're close to the.
I'm always close to the screen, but yeah, I just want to thank you a lot. I have like a lot of new ideas, sentence, thoughts. Some models I have neutralized already, and some there is a path to break them yet. And I really like the decision-making simulator. I think I'm going to use it every day in my daily life. Like what I should wear today or what I should eat today. Okay, fears and but really, I think I can stay like 3-4 more days just talking about all these topics, all these biases and models and really thank you, Yogesh. It's been a really, really interesting topic and workshop. Thank you so much.
Come on now.
I have a question. People are thanking you today. We have 2 more days with you on this topic, don't we?
No, this is the last day.
I thought
Unfortunately, this is the last
I thought
day.
it was still 12. Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
Then thank you, Yogesh. So then I have to say something. With your approval, I'm going to use this in my coaching. So this is the simulation, the decision-making simulation, the 3 parts. And so I think it'll be a great gateway for leaders to even make small decisions or even big decisions. I think it's a good framework. It brings variety in the way I equip my coaches to make decisions. So thank you.
Well, you're please welcome to, absolutely welcome to, take it and do what you believe is the most life-affirming thing with it. All right, okay. Kiran, let's go.
Actually, just wanted to thank you again. Of course, over the last 2 days, there are 2 forms of success over determining success, as I was saying yesterday. And today, with the simulator, I actually feel more empowered to try to unpack the decisions, at least the big D and at least the moderate decisions that I can take in a more holistic way now. Thank you.
Okay. Preeti?
I think what I take back this whole thing is the relevance for us of being important. I think that is what we struggle with in all spheres, relationships or professional. And I think what I'm taking back is that with changing times, the relevance changes. So in olden days where you had to work hard, physically climb, physically do things, it was different. Now the computers or technology or whatever's made it so much easier. The relevance of hard work or whatever. So instead of modeling our own thinking on stereotypes, which we've seen as survivorship in our parents and stuff, doesn't work anymore. So just to be aware of these biases which we've inherited and we think work because we've seen them work with our parents or seen them work around previously. And that's what the decoy choice becomes then. And so just to be aware of the fact that we keep using backfire to keep convincing ourselves that those are the real ways to make decisions, and they're not. So just being mindful, I guess, to all of these. Yeah. So thank you so much.
Welcome, Drishti, let's go.
Yeah. So today's activity actually helped me identify what my fear was in real. Not what I thought it was. So it was really helpful. So thanks for that, Yogesh. Thanks a lot.
All right. You're welcome. Just a second. There are lots of things coming in the framework. Shipra, using the framework. Absolutely. Please go ahead and use it. Someone else is asking, how can we remain in touch in Facebook? Well, my name is Yogesh Parmar. Can somebody, I think I'm connected to some of you. If you can just share the link on the chat box, the rest of you can find it. Yeah, Karthik, go ahead.
Thank you for this decision-making situation-based model. My mind is still into that and thinking about my goal. And it also relates all the decoy, backfire, survival, bias and effect. So thank you. It's really helpful for me in the long run. Thank you so much.
Good luck with the IPS.
Thank you.
And to find a girlfriend.
This is more tough.
Sorry. Sorry, just a lighter note.
Okay. All right. Shilpa, let's go.
Thank you very much for all these aha moments. And my head is buzzing a lot with lots of questions and a lot of realizations. And then you hit your hand on your head and say, oh my God, that's it. Oh gosh. And, you know, sometimes decisions affect not only me, but all the people around me, surrounding me. And I think what I've learned in these 3 days, which is not enough. I think you should have a 5-day, just like Sri Lekha thought, it should be 5 days, not 3 days. That's not enough, just to let you know. And yeah, so it's a lot of introspection on my side, no answers as yet, but I know the path that I'm taking, and I'm trying not to get into feeling guilty, especially with my kids. But I also realize my kids are really, I have so much to learn from them. Like Preeti mentioned, and this moral indignation, oh my God, when I say something, my son looks at me and says, what have I done that I have to hear this from you? And I go, and now I think I said this 2 days ago. And what I did was I just told him, I said, I don't know, but I'm your mom, okay? And I'm allowed to say this. Yeah. So he told me, this Indian attitude doesn't work here. So So I looked at him and I go, okay, let me just think about what you said. And I said, I got into my room and I started thinking about it, and I did not have an answer. And then the answer came in this. So today I will talk to him about it, and yeah, apologize too, but just to be aware, that makes it so much easier. Thank you very, very much. And I hope you can keep on giving these kind of workshops. And wishing you a lot and lot of strength.
Thank you. Yes. This week's been particularly tough because I think the body has really given up this week. The mind gave up last week, but this week the body has given up. But I'm really requesting every day. I'm like, stay with me for 3 more days, and then we'll take a few days off. So thank you for seeing it. And yeah, 3 days because you want to leave Rome when you believe you should have spent 2 more nights rather than when you believe that you should have left last night. Yeah. So the good time to leave Rome is when you believe you should have spent more time there.
This is painful now, right?
Sorry?
I said this is painful now.
No, it's not painful. It's not. It is. It is painful if I identify with the body or the mind, but I'm neither the body and not the mind. I'm the one.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, of course.
I was just able to connect so much with Preeti and Shilpa right now. I'm just barging. My son plays a lot of this PUBG. He's 24, and it really hurts my nerves when I see he's doing it. So I keep telling him, only idiots play PUBG. Moral indignation to the heights. So,
Srilekha, morally indignated mother.
Oh God. ये क्या हो गया?
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. And well, there's so much talk about moral indignation. So we are building a long-term antidote to it. We're calling it experiments in love. Some of you who've been in the other workshops must have already received an email. The rest of you will receive emails on this. We're trying to build it's an attempt. It's hugely challenging. I mean, to design a community from scratch, to see where we can go with it. And yet something is in the works. So we'll see where that goes. Okay. All right. Thank you for playing. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I have a request, Yogesh. We made some friends here in these groups.
Yeah.
Is there a community that's going to be coming up? And
yeah. That's what I said. We're creating the community.
And
that's
maybe if we have 15, 16 of us here, and we'd like to maybe keep in touch, and it'll be nice to have groups.
Yes. Absolutely.
Darshan will form a WhatsApp group, I'm sure.
He is banned. He is banned from creating WhatsApp.
Yeah, actually, I have got your request, and I'm just going to add them to one more, like the group which you already created by taking their permission. So it's too difficult to manage so many groups. So, yeah.
Yeah, so also just a quick, I mean, we are hearing all kinds of, so, this has been going for 10 weeks, right? And lots of WhatsApp groups have been created. Some have been created at the level of dopamine. The dopamine ran out in 3 days. Then they don't know how to get out of it. And then there are WhatsApp groups getting merged. So that's what that's exactly the thing is that how do you design?
But who has the numbers? I mean, I didn't know anybody.
A good way of understanding this. Sorry?
No, I was just curious that our phone numbers were not registered anywhere. How is that there's a WhatsApp?
No, people exchange numbers. People exchange numbers. Srilekha, you are from the 1920s. Kids today, yeah.
Please, don't ask me. So bad I am, I know.
So anyway, so the answer to, the response is we are curating a community where everyone can connect with one another without necessarily knowing the number. So if I don't want to connect, then I don't want to connect. So how do you build that safety for everyone involved? Yeah.
Oh, whoever knows Yogesh on Facebook, I think you can go and search for whoever you want to connect with. They may be in your Facebook account, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So I'll have my preference. So you can show your face. They are astonished that I have such a big voice.
Come. Show us and we'll end it. Come.
Vasisht.
Oh, he's gone.
This is my son. You can come closer. His name is Vasisht Madhav and he's a lawyer.
Hey, buddy.
Hi, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. See you guys. See you soon. Cheers. Bye.